Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. Today we have a 2v2 being played out on a 3v3 map. I'm on the same team as Lowing, who is piloting this time. It looks like the East Germans, although, yes, East Germans, and I'm playing as my favorite Yugoslavian duck. Been doing that a lot lately, I really quite enjoy it. And I'm trying to be quite aggressive, looking for paratroopers in Dimitri, as well as pushing up through the towns here in the center, hoping to get as close to the far side of Elena as I can, but I do spot a couple helicopters here, a couple helicopters here, and these ones are incoming, probably MH-60L DAPs, and yes, they are indeed. My Gamma 2 fires once, fires twice, but it's not enough, and the DAPs take him apart, as well as my Hera 2 scout helicopter. This is all happening very, very quickly. I send in an L-17K, I get one of the MH-60Ls, but it's not enough. I lose a paratrooper, I have to redirect the others, and what does get through is a single Gamma 2 and Hera 2. In the meantime, I have set down here, well, I'm about to set down toward Elena, and I have infantry coming up this way, but it's really just looking a little grim at the moment. Spatbov 30 is going up the center, and that's followed by an M91 Vihor, but those guys are relatively alone in the field. In the meantime, there's MH-60Ls, there's a heavy hog, I have eyes on two Pivads, L-17K coming in, does take out one of those, and I do love those L-17Ks oh so very much. An L-19 also coming in, getting a not really worth it kill on a scout helicopter, but I thought I would grab what I could when I could. Chaparrals and all of that shooting in as well, but Radobranki have touched down here. I've got Isiari scout infantry going up that way as well, and something with what looked like an ATGM hit my Spatbov in Boris. So if we take a look out at the battlefield right now, I am very much full of holes. And so this was debated a little bit later on by me and my opponent here, Vimes, on this side of the field, but if we take a look, he has a very strong position in the center. That's a lot of infantry. There's a combat, there's Pivads, Chaparral. I mean, it's not well suited to take on a Vihor in the field. But then over in Dimitri, there's all of this. There's light riflemen, there's another combat, there's several Humvees, LVTPs, Rangers, light riflemen, and there's only a couple units of Radobranki between them and victory. So it is a hotly contested game. I am pulling out a command vehicle, but this is really just, to a certain extent, posturing, as I'm trying to project strength by capturing zones. HT-40s go up and, well, go down as Chaparrals make short work of them. However, that does leave the Chaparral open to being targeted by my Vihor, and I am complementing that now with an M84AN, trying to make good work of both of these, but the Vihor gets a little too close, a little too quick, and I didn't suspect that there was as much infantry in these woods as there turned out to be. So rocket pods coming in from the HT-40s, very, very helpful indeed, but the Vihor is about to make a horrible mistake. There's one hit, two hits on the side armor of that Vihor, and down he goes. I should never have run him into Boris like that, but alas, I did. So we're going to switch back to my own perspective now, a little bit less information here. In the meantime, by the way, just to hop over to my ally, Lowing is a very aggressive player and is making full use of that here. FJB landing in the town forward and just causing an absolute mess in the background there. But I am pulling in more and more and more infantry. We have an M84AN scout tank pushing forward, trying to secure the center wood, and I'm backing him up with as many scout vehicles as I can. Radobranki charging forward, but being caught out a little bit by the light riflemen. However, we talked about this later as well, and Vimes told me that this absolutely terrified him. It made him think that I was going to be pushing here in strength, and he didn't realize exactly how scant my backline defenses, which basically don't exist, actually were. So, you know, attack, attack, attack. If you can, always attack. It'll take your enemy off guard, and even if it doesn't, it does project some sort of strength. Light riflemen holding up pretty well in the center. M84AN doesn't want to get any closer, but the Bovs and the Gunisiari can do the rest of the work, as there's only, I believe, two of those units remaining. A single unit of Radobranki, and this is what absolutely killed me, looking at the replay and talking with my buddy, is look at all of this, and there's a single squad of Radobranki left. I really messed up here. I should have just defended in terms of holding a strong position, but this block in Dimitri basically doesn't move the entire game. So, in the meantime, looking back at my own perspective again, we're finally clearing these woods. I have eyes on Humvees coming forward. The units here in the back end of Elena were more than enough to clear out whatever I had in the center here as well, and I'm going in for a cheeky kill on that Twin Huey. Definitely shouldn't have done it, but, you know, fly high, and in mud you lie, and in fact the L17K does go down. So mistakes were made on that sort of maneuver there. L19 is going to get pulled back and retreated. We have somewhat secured the middle ground here, the M84AN making himself known. Light Rifleman 90 here as well. That's going to be 19-25 meter range, 50% accuracy missiles with 15 AP power, very, very deadly. Definitely should not be underestimated on any account. So Spatbo of 30 moving up, and I am moving up a quote here as well, just to counter cap in Elena, as we are behind 33 points to our opponents to 3 to me, myself, and Lowing. So the Bovs, basically, I mean, these guys really impressed me this game with just the scouting backed up by, I mean, it's a single Browning per vehicle, it's not all that much fire, but very effective with proper vision. M84AN moving up, but those 3 rounds remaining is going to be an issue very soon, down to 2 now. And the light riflemen do get knocked out of the way, but here comes an M55 Sheridan. Very cheap tank, very much not my favorite sort of thing to deal with. And that last shot from the M84, can we see what will that hit? And oh, are we out? No, I didn't think so. There it is. And the Pivads goes down 40 points more with the last shot of that M84AN. But now we are out of ammunition. There's a tank chasing us. I believe this is another Sheridan. Yeah, that could be. And that, well, yes, exactly. It's a Sheridan. M84AN's retreating as we have a Super Cobra coming in. But this is something that my opponent should have known better than to do. The Super Cobra is not well supported by anti-air, and it is a very tempting target at 100 points. It's worth more than one of my L17s. Moving up a Spatbov, and here comes the L17, supported by an L19 for anti-air defense. We do cap Boris, and now we're taking at a +3, as my ally Lowing has been able to deny Feder to our opponents. L17K coming in, and Super Cobra, I believe, is retreating a little bit. No? Standing still, and let's see. Splat, there he goes. So 100 points, basically for free, as my L17 is pretty much unharmed there. So if we take a look over at how the East Germans are doing, my friend Lowing has secured the center of Feder with, well, quite a lot, honestly. Motostrelki aren't going to be all that effective. Kampfschwimmer, are you kidding me? Sniper teams, oh, that just kills me a little bit. Wilkes, Motostrelki, BRDMs, and a fair amount of anti-air as well, really staking his claim to the side of that map. Incoming a couple bombers, but there's 3 automatics back here, and these planes are going to have a devil of a time getting back out. One of them is dead, let's see. Second one, nearly dead. The stun on those automatics is what saves them. In fact, one of the automatics either is no longer visible. Oh, yeah, okay, I was going to say he died, but nope, just no longer visible. And another Albatross goes down before he's even able to let off his bombs. So very upsetting there, definitely not what you want to have going on. Leopard 1A5s, more Leopard 1A5s, and it looks like Danish? Yes. Looks like the Danish are making up a little bit of ground in Feder, as well as maintaining their counter cap on Elena. In the meantime, however, I am resupplying the M84, and we use that to take out a Sheridan and some light riflemen, so some pretty good movement there. Radobranki holding strong, but fighting a relatively long engagement with light riflemen, so I'm moving up the Gunisiari to support them. Another Spatbov trying to move up, and light riflemen 90 are going to have something to say about that. Actually, just standard, are you kidding me? And, well, okay, so they missed, but 2 men left, 1 from each squad from that light rifleman group is just terrifyingly annoying. That's just obnoxious right there. In the meantime, however, we have not a lot going on. Leopards out in the open, but not really doing all that much off on the eastern side, and still no motion over in Dmitry. I'm moving up another scout helicopter, actually 2 of them, as I get the points for these guys. They are 30 points apiece, but come with a Browning and rocket pods, so I view that as quite a good thing, even though their vision is not exactly phenomenal, shall we say. And things kind of steady out a little bit, as both sides have kind of fought themselves to exhaustion. You can tell the difference in playstyle here, as my own backfield and Lowing's backfield is relatively thin and not very well defended at all. We defend by attacking, and sometimes it doesn't work out too horribly. M3A2 Bradley IFV going down, that's 80 points, but there is an M1A1 backing him up, and I do in fact lose my M84AN. At this point, there's pretty much nothing, again, between my back line and my opponent, so we have to pause and take a look here. Let's see at, let's see right there, there's an M1A1 Abrams, there's a Pivads, Light Rifleman. They could have all moved forward. The Spatbov would have died to the M1A1, Heritu would have been shot down by the Pivads, and the center of Boris could have been reclaimed, although, I mean, there is a Super Gala, but I lost vision on the M1A1 still. With a little bit of proper smoke support, that could have been a very nice maneuver. This town still holding very strong, by the way, so, I mean, considering Dmitry is held, the back end of Elena is held, and there was local superiority at the far end of Boris, that should have been a push down the center of the field any day, and twice on Sundays, although I don't think it was a Sunday when we were playing, but that might be a little bit beside the point. So, more spat Bovs, and a little bit of a holding pattern here as I'm trying to get points to bring in anything at all. Also, an Arreo 2 and a Super Gallop, these guys are coming in trying to go for those automatics, but I mess up a little bit. The plane speed is an issue with both of these not going in simultaneously. We do kill one of the automatics, Super Gallop coming in, and can we get the other? Yes, we do. But the Super Gallop got injured there, and the other automatic takes him down, so we got two of them. There is still a third. Maybe it'll help my friend over there, maybe not. In the meantime, US Marines moving forward, and this is one hell of a challenge, because these guys, 30 points apiece, are very tough, very difficult to take down. Even with Radobranki, with elite training, and yes, we're killing them relatively quickly, but we're taking damage, and I'm about to start losing this squad. So I move back, I surrender that ground a little bit. Graniciari, moving up on that side, but heavy hogs inbound, and that's not what I want to see. Because I don't really have many tools to take them down. I mean, I have a Spat Bov, but 26-25 meter range against helicopters not great. And the light rifleman 90s take down my other Spat Bov. I was trying to get a cheeky line of sight there, and just it was a bit of a mistake, if I'm honest. So, US Marines moving forward, engaging Graniciari, who are engaged on all sides. Rocket pods as well coming in from heavy hogs, and that's going to be a dead position in not a lot of time at all. Bringing up a resupply vehicle as well as the infantry that was already called, and there's more on the way. So a couple of those, they're trying to just reinforce that line desperately. I don't even have any armor in the field at this point. I don't really have much AA in the field either, but one of those heavy hogs does get a little bit close, and the Spat Bov opens up, taking him down. So in the meantime, there is a leopard push going on here. There were originally, I think, 6 or so leopards, now it's down to 4, but the T-72Ss have been taking a pounding, only one of them remaining, and fortunately for us, we do have vision on those leopards, so it's going to be ATGMs coming in. Sphere ATGMs, I mean, they're not phenomenal, but they're not bad. They're just, I mean, 22 AP is pretty decent for a tank-carried weapon anyway. Light riflemen engaged by more Radobranki. At this point, I just threw them at him because I was sitting there going, well, there's nothing going on here. I want him to think that I'm attacking, and so I took my last group of Radobranki and threw them at the problem, and yes, they die very, very horribly. To look back over here, the T-72 fuel leak there, which is a little bit obnoxious. More Sphere missiles going in, and not a lot of kills, but the Leopard 1A5s are definitely very injured. Unfortunately, there is a resupply vehicle coming up that way. And it looks like the stalemate is continuing. Of course, we do run pretty late in the time limit here for this game, so that's sort of to be expected, and my Radobranki have managed to retreat even just by the skin of their teeth there. For some reason, the US Marines are not pushing through. They definitely would have been able to kill the Graniciari and Radobranki, and I made a bit of a mistake there trying to move the Mororiska Pies across, and they get taken down by even more light riflemen 90 with range on that situation. So proms, and I didn't really know these guys, but 35-point vehicles, pretty decent for the point cost. It looks like launching their Conqueror's missiles in at the Leopards, not getting a lot of hits there, and when they hit, they're not doing a ton of damage, but it is persistent fire, and down goes one of the Leopard 1A5, so pretty good work there. Leopard 1A3, 40-point tank is not going to last all that long. Even against light fire, it just doesn't have the armor for it. 8 frontal armor is okay, but not exactly great. There is a tank push coming forward, trying to secure that middle ground and push toward the Führungsyuan UAZ, which was kind of not really that necessary because I was already capping in Elena, but hey, you get what you get sometimes, and well, that's all there is to it. So we are going to go back to speed 2 a little bit, as it looks like the Leopards have mostly been pushed off. There is an M113A1 coming in. That's a bit of a questionable decision, given how, well, I mean, I probably would have pulled in an infantry CB, if anything, put him in the back part of this town that doesn't seem to be quite as attacked by the East German forces. Artillery is coming in, trying to kill that automatic, but it's not going to be able to do much more than stun. And here comes the charge of the US Marines. Probably was waiting until they could get a second group out, but we do catch them outside of buildings, and I mean, this is decent work here. They're about half dead, both of them, and they do retreat from that engagement. though I think they should have stayed in yet again. Aggression is maybe, well, it's not people's first instinct when they don't want their own stuff to die. I think you have to risk that in order to get good kills on something else. Fetter has been secured, but we are still ticking at a +1, so of course that gives us Boris, Ivan, Cheriton, Gregory, and Jot against just a couple in the back, and Dmitri on the side, which finally has been capped. It was over there pretty much uncontested for a while without being capped, so that was definitely a problem. But that +1 tick is going to add up eventually. Heavy Hog letting loose some rocket pods, but fortunately for me, I'd already unloaded my Mechanizovna Pez. Mechanizovna Pez. And they are moving up forward, trying to take out those US Marines. Grenade launchers coming in from the Heavy Hog is going to be a bit of a problem. But the rate of fire, well, the rate of damage anyway, isn't going to be all that phenomenal. So I feel pretty good about this. The Morodiska and Mechanizovna Pez managing to keep up relatively high rates of fire. A-10 Thunderbolt does come in and kills my Spatbulov, but we retaliate with an L-19. Can it take it down? And yes, there it goes. About 120 to 140 points. That plane's dead right there. I don't quite remember off the top of my head what that is, but that was a decent joust for us, and I do have another Vihor moving up into the woods to secure Boris, as well as the infantry moving forward, trying to push these Marines back and out of position while the Radobranki are healed, but we overextend just a little bit, and they are taking significant damage. I think I tried to retreat them. I don't know if it happened because they are, of course, stunned. M84AN just trying to secure the center of this field, prevent a push on that side as well as bringing out another one to provide vision in Boris. So, looking back over here at the East Germans, there's been a lot of nothing, as there is a Wilk brought into place, there's a T-72, a little bit of resupply is going on, and these guys did some pretty good work, but did suffer artillery counterfire, which is not exactly great, and now the US Marines are pushing back. We did lose one of our units of infantry, and I don't think the US Marines have lost any at this point, so that is definitely in their favor. That's pretty much undisputed. But the Radobranki and Mechanizovna Pez on the defensive will put up a pretty stiff fight, that is, if the Radobranki decide to shoot. I don't know why this angle doesn't count. There's definitely vision there. But I got a little bit tired of it, and I did fire off a round, well, a volley from Plumman S. Trying to stun those Marines. We do in fact panic them, and that will be very helpful as things move forward. But my M84AN got smacked. Optical failure on his scout vehicle is definitely not what you need, so he is moving back. The Plumman S is moving into the center zone, as the US Marines once again retreat to heal. Which does give me time as well, so hey, that kind of works for me. I'm not too bothered. Inconclusive fighting favors the team with ticking war score, which right now is us. So, you know what, I'll take what I can get, and I won't complain. EOTS Ihawks, these are very deadly, they're not even radar, but they do have excellent range against airplanes coming in, supported by an automatic as well, and that bomber is definitely making a one-way trip. In the meantime, however, Plumman S, and I love watching this thing shoot, even if it isn't all that effective. Let's pop back to neutral just to see that volley. So there's US Marines here with 7, US Marines here with 30, LVTPs and a Chaparral and a Hempt, and here comes the volley. Let's see what we can do. So, they are panicked, they are stunned. Most of the US Marines here that were remaining died. Looks like 4 off that group, 7 off the double group, LVTPs damaged and stunned. If I was able to follow it up with infantry, then that would have been an ideal and opportune time. Wink wink nudge nudge, that might happen soon, but in the meantime, L-17K coming in, trying to dive that Super Cobra once again, but this time there is a very competent AA net, and I'm not able to do it. So that should have been the protection that was there the first time, and that Super Cobra was excellent bait. My opponent probably knowing that I wouldn't be able to resist, coming in and trying to snipe another Super Cobra. So I do bring in a Spatbulov because I need some anti-air here, particularly the Super Cobras are anti-radar, so you can't exactly wait around for those with some sort of powerful radar AA, it just won't work. Plumman S firing again, and let's speed things up just a tad as we do get into a bit more of a holding pattern yet again. Fetter is secured, but was lost and secured again, lost again. A pretty common pattern there, and Lowing's trying to get some support, pushing through the center, trying to capture Elena. Now, that time we do attack into it, Radobranki and Mechanizovna Pez moving up, but the US Marines are just far too numerous, even with their relatively low accuracy, and the Radobranki again don't have an angle, but a Heavy Hog does, and my Mechanizovna Pez are dying very, very quickly. basically run out of infantry in that position at this point, but just trying to project strength once more. And let's speed back up to 2 here. I think that's probably fine. This is a bit of the mid-game drag. That time we did get the super... Well, no we didn't. I thought we did, but no. I've wasted 2 L-17s trying to get it. M84 and M91 do move forward, however, with the Plummet S shortly firing, and we were able to get some pretty good kills, so light riflemen and their transports, of course, are not the most valuable things, but we're pounding that infantry position once more. We're getting some tank shots in at light riflemen. This is the downside of light riflemen. They give away their position relatively early, which means I can go after them with long-range guns, and they won't necessarily be able to defend against it. Here comes another helicopter. No, that's an A-10. Yeah, so A-10 on the way. He was spotted relatively early. I'm retreating the V4 and the M84, but I don't know if I can get there in time, and the V4 in fact does get killed. L-19 comes out, 1, 2, 3. Down goes the A-10. Pretty even trade there, to be honest. Maybe a tactical victory for my opponent, as I now no longer have the strength up front to keep pushing, but I am bringing out a resupply vehicle for the Plummet S and another companion M91A V4 for my scout tank, as well as another scout tank. My intention, given how well that little mini push worked, is to just keep doing it and keep trying to push these guys back. But we do take a tank shot to the face, and my M84AN is not very happy about it. Second one, and only 1 point of health left. We do a little bit of return fire, 4 points left, but down goes the M84. So everything I just said about what the intended plan was kind of goes out the window in that case. More Mechanizovanapez and Radobranki still up here supporting, fighting the US Marines. Quite a few of them have died from Plummet S. I think we also killed the resupply vehicle, which does of course cut their combat effectiveness quite nicely. But again, this is looking pretty scant, so popping back to neutral, and this will be able to push and have a jelly time in so doing. M1A1 Abrams, I guess it's a little bit more damage than I would like before starting a push as well, so waiting and healing that is a pretty good decision. I mean, mid-game exhaustion of both sides is not terribly uncommon. Spatfoka does finally take down that last remaining heavy hog, and the M84AN pushing forward, just getting a cheeky couple shots on the light rifleman with its good optics, and trying not to die in so doing. Of course, heavy enough armor here that the M84 is only taking a single point of damage from the light rifleman 90, at least I think so anyway. Yeah, it looks like it. And Radobranki finally moving forward, trying to finish off. We have killed some units of the US Marines now, instead of just injuring them and sending them back. And it's a very close fight. Radobranki do have an edge in that they're elite training instead of shock, while the US Marines, despite their 15 strength, are shock training, so even numbers, and once both are panicked and worried, the Radobranki do have an edge, and it definitely shows with the US Marines dying in the front. Oh, something else just died, and I'm not sure what it was. Bring out another M84A. Bit of a misclick there. I'd meant to do another AN, but I think I'm also running a little bit light on the ANs at this point, because quite a few of them have been deployed, quite a few of them have died. It's really not an ideal situation. Resupply vehicle moving up, trying to secure a forward position with the M84AN here, as we do manage to push the US Marines out of the woods, out of the city, finally, although it is into incoming supporting fire, hence the supporting M84. Another heavy hog moving up, and my Spatfoka is going to try to answer. The one right here is going to try to move around to the east, trying to get a position there, and the Plummet S has been resupplied enough. We might be able to get a couple shots going forward here. Radobranki moving up, trying to kill the LVTPs, and let's see what they can do. Boom bars firing, and yeah, they got that. They got the vehicle killed the last man on that unit of US Marines, got another vehicle kill, and there's still one of them alive and kicking. Heavy hog stunned and killed by Spatfoka, and the OAT M60P is moving up to draw fire while the other one is taken down as well. And now we capture a Hempt, which shows me that this position doesn't really have anything left in it. In the meantime, this has really just been a true stalemate over on the east. Feder has been resecured by Blue 4, and hence we've been sitting at 0-0 for a while. But I'm feeling a bit more confident here as we're making progress in Boris. Now the Plummet S is going to be shooting into the woods here, and I wanted to see the effect of that. So a lot of stunned, a lot of light damage, not a lot of heavy damage. M1A1 Abrams took a single point, but I mean everything's going to be shooting far worse. And this is when the M84s and M91s are going to be moving in. Second volley as well coming out, trying to keep them panicked if I can. And let's see what we can see. Weapons jammed on the M1A1. and that is going to be horrendous for my opponent as it is taken down pretty effectively here. The counter cap on Boris is definitely still in place, but they did have to move it, which tells me it's probably somewhere forward in that tree line, and if I can push that tree line, I might be able to get it. M84AN finding and killing resupply vehicle back there, as well as Rangers. One way to know something's a resupply vehicle is you'll have vision on it and still won't shoot, but you can get around that with manually targeting. Helicopters moving up, and at this point I'm fearing tank killers, I'm fearing another A-10, so we start to move back a little bit, but it's just a UH-1C heavy hog. We did unfortunately lose all of our infantry farther up, but I have more coming in and more coming in, and here comes another Plymouth S volley, just trying to damage everything that I can in that block. Taking a look at the effects of that, again, stunned, light damage. Chaparral is almost dead, actually. Pivot's more than half dead there. Much more effective direct fire on the western side of that woods than we had originally, and it's just keeping on coming. So this does eventually draw counterfire, but not soon enough, and Boris is flipping back and forth like crazy, and I want it so badly. Atacam's coming in, just barely missing my M84AN, just right next to it, and the second shot coming in as well. Had I moved back even just a hair's breadth more, I would have lost that tank, so I'm very glad I did not. And now we have 3, the M84 has come up to support his scout brother here. Interesting, 20 points for better vision, medium to very good. I think that's very much worth it, because, well, the M84AN can spot for himself and shoot. But a lot of troop movements over this way, and I'm a little worried about it, so there's the other Plymouth S shot, getting switched back to this target, stunning, killing everything that it can in those woods, and, well, we take a little bit of rocket pod damage, but I'm not too concerned, and the fact that we haven't drawn fire here means that I feel okay pushing up even further. Just taking a look to the east there, make sure I didn't miss anything, but I in fact did not. LVTPs, it's a heavy hog behind it, we get eyes in the chaparral, down it goes, we get eyes on something else moving around here, to something else, probably looks like infantry. Nope, those are vehicles, Humvees, and down one goes. Let's see if we can get the other. It looks like an LVTP, but not for very long. And down he goes as well. So these 3 tanks are now just going to move forward, push this position entirely as we resecure Boris and get back to a +1, taking 400 points to 33 with 11, well, almost 12 minutes left of the match. Combats go down, and there's nothing big enough to go toe-to-toe with any of these tanks left on my opponent's side of the field. So that is definitely something worth pointing out. Of course, I didn't name this game Holes for nothing, and I would like to point out that Ivan was never really filled in, Elena never really filled in all that completely. We just engaged in Boris over and over and over again until it finally worked to my advantage. So lots of sound going on there as the Plymouth S shoots again. US Marines panicked, M84s, M91 moving forward, and at this point, our opponents, well, Justin and Vimes were relatively unhappy, I would say, with how the game was turning. It was beginning to feel a little bit like the end of the line, and I can't necessarily blame them for that. M84AN supporting fire on US Marines just makes that even that much worse. M91A Vihor is in a dangerous position for him, should there be any sort of US Marines or something else in there, but I figured it was all light riflemen and we'd probably be okay. Here comes the M1A2, and this guy is definitely cut above the rest of what had been up here. Had he been up there earlier, we probably would have lost one or both of these M84s on the push. So one shot goes in, the M84 is very unhappy, giving away his position by continuing to fire US Marines. A very bad decision. Unfortunately, the standard M84 does drop fire, and here we have an Array 02 coming in. Let's see, HUD failure, and his ATGMs both miss. Well, one of them misses, the other one hits. Rocket pods coming in as well. The M1A2 is half dead. Well, nearly half dead, but it's not quite good enough. Gamma moving up, Vihor moving up. We do get a kill on the pivots, and I'm just trying to move up anything I can to keep the M84AN alive. We lose the standard M84, but the Vihor is giving very good fire there, and let's see if he can get the kill. Shot on the way, and down goes the M1A2. So a little bit of funky positioning there, and a little bit of hustle. Did manage to keep alive my important scout tank unit. Probably one of the most valuable in my current repertoire at this point in the game. Helicopters moving forward, we're taking out a +1 still, 434 points, nearly there indeed. Let's speed up just a little bit, and at this point there's not much between me and my opponent's home base here. I should have probably pushed forward. I basically did the same thing that he did in Dimitri, the difference being that given that we were sitting +1, we could relatively safely do this without too much trouble. And at this point, I'm urging Lowing to move these Wilks up to attack to try and secure the victory before something bad should happen and we should lose the front. Bit of a just shot in the dark artillery strike there, and it doesn't really do much. But my opponent here, Vimes, is trying to create another strong point in this other set of woods. I think that's a bit of a mistake. Should have probably brought out another big tank to engage, although I know it didn't work out too well the first time. With proper support, it would, and Sheridans and Chaparrals are not what's needed at this point in the game. At least, well, that's my own 2 cents. Especially when I get to watch it all come in. So the M84's spotting stuff. I know that there's a bunch of not good at standing up to tanks in those woods, and I can target it with the Plowman S, I can stun a lot of it, and then move forward, but there is, it looks like a longbow. Yep, that's a longbow. My M91 is moving backwards. I'm really surprised by that. So that last shot had already lost vision, but it fired anyway, and one of them still hit, which I call bullshit. But down goes the M84AN to a single longbow, so that sort of support earlier on would have held this position and would have been able to push this position had it been, you know, a longbow and a Super Cobra kept alive behind a strong AA net, and a tank, a couple infantry, a little bit of supporting vehicles, and all of that good stuff. Gamma 2 does move forward, survives Chaparral shots way longer than ever expected, killing a combat, I believe. Yep, that looks like a combat. No, it was a Humvee. Well, not really worth it there, but, well, it is what it is. And the T-72 M1's moving forward, trying to do a last sort of effective push here. No, hold on, they're just stopped. Why are they stopped? This kills me. There's three Wilks, 90 points each, 270 points total, just sitting there chilling in the middle of the field. And fortunately for him, the Leopard 1A5s are coming out to meet him, and they don't really stand a chance, particularly with T-72's fire coming in from the side. Let's see how that looks. One of them goes down. T-72 is fine, didn't even take any damage from that. A little bit of supporting fire here, bit of a miss. Let's see, 65% chance, let's see if we can make it, and yep, made it, nearly killed a Leopard in a single shot. Now the Wilks are opening up again. And, well, I mean, there's not really much going on over here in the western side, so we'll leave that alone for right now. As the last couple seconds of this match tick away, and they do so to the success of these Germans, so, well, that works well, I guess. Given that I've been switching in and out of my own perspective and the neutral perspective for quite a while, I won't torture you guys with a relatively meaningless kill of death. So that is all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around, and see you again real soon.